Oh, my hair is crazy. All right.
Hey, bud.
What? How are you?
Good. Nice
You're
to see
eating.
you.
I need to eat
Yeah,
too. I didn't eat breakfast
I'm eating some pretzels.
yet. Oh, that'll make your speaking work really well. You ever notice when you get invited to speak at a banquet, they always feed you chicken?
No.
Man, it ends up in your teeth. But if you ever forget a pick, you're in trouble. You're constantly picking at it while you're trying to speak. At least it's happened to me.
I'm sorry.
It's always chicken.
Well, speaking of clinics and banquets, and we met each other, I think, for the very first time was in Napa, California, at that clinic that the Pacific coaches had with the wonderful events. Did you hear anything about this last weekend's clinic in Napa?
I haven't heard anything. No,
Nor have I. So I was
I
just
wanted to
wondering.
go. It would have cost me $2,000 to in lost revenue to go this last weekend.
Yeah, it's expensive stuff. I agree.
Well, it's not expensive to go to the clinic, but I taught $2,000 worth of lessons in 2 days. So I'm really happy with that. That's nice. That's a nice income. We'll see how long it lasts.
Okay. And did you see the episode on Cal Baptist cutting its swimming team that I put out on Heavy or Not?
I thought that's what we were coming here for.
Well,
I
we
guess not.
talked about it the other day, and I put
Okay.
it into a podcast. But yeah, if anybody else wanted to drop in, we could talk about it. We do have a third attendee. That's awesome. Kevin Ayers is here. Welcome.
Kevin Ayers. You're nice to be able to see everybody.
So
Can we
go to your view and make it gallery?
Okay, I can do that.
Then we can make it go to ask Kevin
Oh,
to
it's
unmute.
just this. Oh, gallery. There it is. There it is. Kevin Ayers, how are you?
All right.
I think you're the first person that bought Cool Coach.
Yeah.
I really think that. Coincidentally, today we have a guy on Upwork. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but you can hire them to do technical things for you. He promises me he can get Cool Coach to work again. Because Microsoft broke it. And this guy is amazed at what we did. So am I sometimes. That was so far ahead of its time. But now with AI, we can do stuff we only dreamed of back then. So it's so amazing that you're here, completely coincidental. But anyway, I hope it helped you at the time. But yeah, this guy in Morocco who's working on it thinks it was, he said he's never seen anything like that done in Excel. It's just beyond, but I said, you know who worked on it technically was my former swimmer and friend, Dr. Pilling. And he's now working on a chip to beat NVIDIA's chip. He's that smart a guy. It's 2 degrees from Cal Tech. And then he went to Cal and got his PhD in physics. And while he was getting his PhD, I would drive down and we would spend all night long working on Cool Coach, figuring out the algorithms. And now we go to the Olympic Training Center and work with Dr. Sharp and other people to make sure we got it right. And the first time I used it myself, I had a set of 1025s on the 115, all out, but on the 115, 25 yards on 115. And then I had a set of 10-100s breaststroke. It was all breaststroke. 10-100s breaststroke on 130. And Cool Coach told me that 1025s was far more stressful based upon Rick Sharp's stress score and the algorithm we built for it. And I just stared at it and went, no freaking way. So I had Jeff, how the heck could that be harder? And I had Jeff look at the algorithm and he said, no, it's working. And I called the Olympic Training Center where Rick Sharp was sequestered. And I said, is this possible? And he said, absolutely, it's possible. So, you know, the Dave Salos had to be celebrating that moment, you know, with the all out versus, but you got to be all out. I mean, that's the thing. You got to be faster than your 50 time. And a lot of kids on 130, coaches don't like to do this because they'll leave. Oh yeah, it's time to leave. You know, they won't put 100% effort into it, and they might as well be going 10 100s. At least you get some fitness out of them, you know. And
Totally
so
agree.
coaches are unwilling to do that. And then this week, I asked AI because I was working on. I'm working on a lot of swimmers. I have swimmers from 40 different teams that come to me one-on-one, and so we're having some challenges with enough speed with some of these swimmers. And I'm like, I asked AI, when I'm working on creatine phosphate, how much rest should I give them after a 12-second all out or less all out boast? And it said 2.5 to 3 minutes. And I went, what? And so although Rick taught me 1.5 was sufficient and ideal, it turns out might not be equal. Can you imagine running a workout where I can, because I'm a sprinter, but I can't imagine running a workout like that, especially because I'm so known for the distance side of the equation. But I certainly will consider it. I remember that we would get people back from water polo, back when water polo was only 3 months a year, and they would come back from water polo faster than the swimmers who stayed with me, even though we were doing sprints and distance and drills, and they were literally faster. Were they better? No, their technique was terrible, but they were used to just accelerating and and being, and not only that, but lactate, and you're in a workout and the only thing yelling at you is the clock or the coach. But in water polo, if you let that guy the defender get back or whatever, you're still going, even though you feel like throwing up. And so we adjusted that after talking to the head of USA Water Polo. We sat one time watching a water polo workout in California, and he said, back in the day, swimmers and water polo players all could do the same thing. Like Tim Shaw was a world-class water polo player, but he was also the American record holder in the 500 free, for example, and the 400 meters. He was really great. And he said that was ideal. And I said, not now, though, because you keep them all year. You take them, then you never give them back to us. Then we were going to talk about Cal Baptist today. And when I first came to Cal Baptist, Rick Rowland was coaching both men's and women's water polo and men's and women's swimming. And he did that for really quite a long time. In fact, when I came on board to help him with the swimming side, because I always thought he was better in water polo than swimming. I still do. He still might argue with me. But he was way better in water polo. He's that kind of a guy that can get people psyched up and environment and everything. But yeah, he was still doing all of that. And I would get his water polo players as a technical biomechanist. I would get them. They would actually be ending their season, and we were already in the swim season, actually competing. And so I would quickly have to work on the back ends of all their strokes because they had the front end, but not the back end. But they were all pretty tough and pretty ready to go as far as speed went. They didn't have a dolphin kick, so I had to work on that. But they had a whip kick. If they were breaststrokers, they were ready to go. Anyway, good to see you all.
So Kevin, where are you now? What's your coaching situation?
UK. The UK.
Good.
Have you been there all along? You've been there all along, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are your swimmers doing?
Yeah, I couldn't use Cool Coach.
You never could use it?
No, I couldn't. Like you, the sets were like too small, and I couldn't trust it.
Yeah, I learned to trust it, but I had to use it a lot.
I just went to high tech.
Huh. Well, that's why we beat you.
And then I used John's Genepex charts and stuff like that.
Yeah, me too. And those are embedded. It could be you just didn't stay with it long enough. But it works on distance too. It just was surprising.
The other programs are good, but they just cost too much for people like me anyway.
Yeah.
Like for college teams and stuff like that. They've got a lot of money, but
yeah, we'll try to make ours better this time and see if you like it. I'd like your opinion once we get it. We're going to try to make it subscription based, but because it's embedded in Excel, it's rather difficult. But the ideal part of it that people didn't do was they didn't come back and say, okay, I wanted a set of 5 200s. I want them to average this. And then the program immediately told them what energy system it was. And it also told them as compared to their splits, whether or not that was the right energy system to work on that day. If you really stuck with it, it could do that. But if you ask the swimmer to go, 205s and they went 215s, it's a different energy system, or what it could be. There was a range, and John was a good friend of mine, so he would tell me, you need a range, Steve, not an X time. Well, we'd always give you a time, but it was always a range, and you could mess with that and see if it worked.
Yeah.
But if you came back and you said, well, they averaged 215s, it would show you that you didn't go that energy system, and you could the next day. So let's say you were supposed to go lactate, and you're supposed to have 72 hours between lactate bouts, or big lactate bouts on days, but they didn't actually go lactate. You could try it the next day with maybe a little teeth in it, like 3 to make 4, 200s or something like that, where you're really trying to get them, maybe even doing relays or something where you really got them to, burning up. But so that stuff all really worked really well, but the coach wasn't coming back and putting the times in, and I don't blame him. It's difficult, to do that. So you almost need an assistant sitting there. And now that I coach one-on-one, it's very simple for me to do stuff like that, but I don't have a cool coach to run that algorithm. So it's all in my head, and it was all in my head before we ever wrote it. But it's very, very challenging to do it. But believe me, I'm the most happy guy probably of anybody that used Cool Coach, because I really did get it to work. And we did have 20 people make junior and senior nationals, US nationals, on one team with one high school and one junior high in the 400 IM alone. And then we won the juniors, we won the 50 free. When a 15-year-old that made the senior nationals in the 50 free, won the 400 IM, won the 200 fly and 200 back to back. We were probably one of the best fit teams in the country. And then Mark Schubert brought me in last year to do my little magic with his team, where we had, well, not last year, but now it's been before Paris, and we had Johnston, who made the Olympic team by 0.2 of a second and dropped 17 seconds at trials. So we kind of know what we're doing, but the problem is to get the software to be easier to use. I think ideally you'd have touchpads, and the touchpads would go right into back to your thing about college, go right into your program, and the program would go, hey, you didn't really go lactate today, or wow, you tried lactate back to back and that didn't work, or something, where you're just getting a really, really good feedback. With AI now, you can do it, but you still got to give it the time. Maybe you could do it with a camera running all the time, right? And have the camera doing the timing, literally, so you don't even have to think about times or anything. That just popped into my head, because we could just run a tripod. I'm working out of a health club right now, so we have one swimmer at a time in a health club, but we go 2-hour segments. So they always work out, and we always test them where their teams aren't. And I've got some of the best teams in the country, where these swimmers are coming in from Dallas and all over the place, but their swimmer, if you ask their coach, got the second best backstroker in the country for 13-14, for example, who's made junior nationals and stuff and ready to make seniors. But if you ask their coach, who's a very good coach, what's her best kick time, and he wouldn't know. So, and it goes that way with Mission and Irvine and all these Brea and all these great teams I'm working, and the coaches just don't know. They're just overwhelmed. It's an overwhelming profession. Don't you agree?
True. Yep.
Well, Kevin, do you have any specific questions we should noodle about today?
No, I was just curious to see what you were talking about, really. Like I said, I use John's heart rate 26, 20, 24, 26 beats, and for 10-second count, I cross journal that with their training times and go from there. I'm a big Medley person. I'm a big Schulberg person.
So do you have distance swimmers, Kevin? Are you coaching some pretty good distance swimmers?
Yeah, I'm a sort of, I coach basically a 400 IMer up to middle distance for 500, 600, 800. Yeah. 200 fly. But yeah, I'm an old Richard Quick fan.
Yep, me too.
Work on posture, line, and balance. I love Bill Sweetenham when he was here, UK. I think he was amazing for us. He was amazing for coaches as well.
We all agree that. Yeah.
He used to challenge us left, right, and center. You used to have to get up and justify your sets to the room, put you on the spot.
How many people were in the room at the time?
Oh, that would be, it'd be a coach select group of like 20 coaches.
Yeah.
Plus, but it was, everyone, I mean, when Bill was last here, this was back in the day when Sean Hutchinson was a blue-eyed boy up in Seattle. So me and a colleague, we were funded by British Swimming. Off we went to Seattle to meet up with Sean and watch Sean's sessions. Turned up at the pool in the morning. Sean wasn't there. They told us that he don't train morning. So we, went back and chilled and went back in the evening. Anyway, we had to come back. We had to do a presentation to all these coaches in the room. Everyone had to do a presentation. So of course there we were, workouts written all up on the board, and we started to tell what Sean was doing, and they were just laughing. I said, well, what are you laughing for? That's what he does. If he swam that weekend, he wouldn't come back until like the Tuesday. But yeah.
Sean was saying that. Sean Hutchinson was saying that, huh? That's crazy.
Sean was doing it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then Schulberg. I had Schulberg come over to the UK. I used to go down regular to GA. And I was there when Mark was recruiting, and he was with Lindsay. They sat in the stands one morning, and they watched this set. And he said, Mark said to me, "I'm gonna when I get back to California," he said, "I'm going to ask the girls to do this workout." So Lindsay said, "But Mark, we haven't got ropes that go up to the ceiling."
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice. I was telling somebody about that the other day. Yeah, Schulberg, yeah, if he didn't get he told me if he didn't get 6,000 yards in an hour, he felt like he hadn't really done the work. Yeah.
I know there's lots of different people don't like, but I'll tell you, Dick for me was like I saw him use high tech at the time, and it just come alight, the things he was doing with it and stuff like that.
Yeah, a guy like that can tell what you're trying to do. High tech was always missing some of the beats, and they would actually send people to me at conventions because they would ask specific questions about how it got the energy systems or how it got the stress levels. And they asked me like 4 times one time. And finally I went, you guys, you have to do the work. You have to build the algorithm in that Rick Sharp did the work on, and at a certain speed based upon your best speed. I told him like 4 times exactly how we did it, because I wasn't in competition with him. I just wanted them to do a better job. We wouldn't have written it if they would have done a better job, but we always felt that they were missing. And this part of it, where a guy, you can't just say 10 100s on 130 and you average 105 and that's the right energy system. You have to know what the person's best time is, and you have to know what their best time is if you want to be more sophisticated in the 50, 100, 200, 400, 15, all the way up to the 1500. You have to know, or 3000 per time. We use that a lot, T30. And that came from the, back to the East Germans. That was a long time ago. But Schulberg knew all that stuff. So the stuff that he liked about it was great. I still remember Rick calling me one time and going, because we had developed the kicker and he was using the Vasa. And he goes, can we put a kicker at the back of the Vasa so that we could kick, and then I go, I don't know. I guess the thing you'd run into it, you'd probably run into it, Dick. So I don't because the sled moved, it wasn't like a regular swim bench. But he was always trying to find a way, and he had like less pool space than most people wanted. So his extra lane was land, right? So we were going to talk a little bit about Cal Baptist, but we used to do that every Friday. Every Friday we'd run a circuit, and part of the circuit was jump out of the pool and do dry land stuff. And I think that's the ideal thing. That was the thing we really wanted them to, when I was mentoring them. I said, you need to have a weight room right along the deck right here. And that way we can just open it up, pictures, open up a bunch of doors and then close them later. And we just throw people on a swim bench or early vertical forearm, or if they're having shoulder problems, go right to contralateral. And as a biomechanist, that's what I wanted. But in terms of training, yeah, they needed that other part of the algorithm. And what Rick had said was that all the way from 6 down to 0, which was warm up, right? There was a stress level based upon your best velocity. And that algorithm had to be run on each swimmer. Otherwise, the groups were never homogeneous. You just never get them right. And I think that was, you could, I guess, back to the college thing, if you just had your 200 flyers together, but I think you should have probably your 100 flyers separate from that. And back to Bill Sweetenham, he once told me that they don't swim their 400 IMers along with their milers. Now, we have always done that in America, almost always. But he said they wouldn't come home. You dummy them down on that last 100 freestyle. They wouldn't have legs because they were just training with no legs all that time. I think you can go around that, but that comes back to software too. Now, Bill liked my software, not so much as software as the philosophy behind it. And when we ran a clinic one time in Hawaii, he sent his staff to me to learn to look over my shoulder, and we actually blew it. That was a bad camp. I took it too far, and I don't do that very often. But my swimmers were used to me, and so we were at sea level. We tried to go 10,000 a practice for 13 straight practices, and it was all IM. None of them were free. It was a crazy use of, especially because they're developing swimmers. They weren't college swimmers, and we didn't taper well that season. We tapered well the next season, and then when who was it? Yeah, now I'm forgetting his name. I just interviewed him about 3 months ago. Jack Simon. You remember Jack Simon?
Oh yeah.
He's been on he was with every team in the country, I think, or in the world. But Jack Simon came in after me, and he sat down with my swimmers. This is really funny. And he sat down with my swimmers and he goes, because he was used to doing this speech everywhere he came in. And he said, you guys aren't going to be used to the mileage we're going to be doing. And they looked at each other and they looked at him and started laughing, he said, because we done a 16-mile IM at long course. Yeah, we had t-shirts, 16-mile IM. But what people didn't get is because we used Cool Coach, and I'm sorry, you were wrong. You just didn't get it. And it probably didn't work perfectly for you either. But because of that, we actually did a lot of 25s and 12 and a halves. And we actually did a lot of lactate and stuff. We really tried to put it together. So, and now I look at Ron Aiken, who called me a few years ago and said, I know you were doing that stuff with Cool Coach a long time ago, and I have 12 great swimmers. Ron absolutely did have 12 great swimmers. But he goes, but I have 5. What's that?
Is he working with
Las Vegas Sandpipers?
Yeah. But is he working with Dr. G?
Yeah, he always has Dr. G come in too. But he called me to say, because Dr. G's software is kind of interesting too, and talk about money, I guess it's pretty expensive. He's got it. I think he has a real good cut on all of this. I think he really knows this stuff really well for a guy that's pretty good with stroke too. Dr. G's, I have a great deal of respect for him. And we've done a bunch of interviews for Competitive Swimmer Magazine together. If you haven't seen him, we're going to make it easier for you to be able to get to that. I'm having the website being redone now. So Mark, I haven't talked to you about it, but we're going to choose somebody really soon here, and from Upwork, because I couldn't get it done in the United States for the price I want. But anyway, you're going to be able to go back and be able to see me talking with Dr. G. And Dr. G, one of the most famous things Dr. G told me, and has told Ron too, is the world records should be 3 seconds per 100 faster than they are right now, just based on stroke. But you'd have to take all the best elements of the best swimmers and combine it into a single swimmer. And yesterday I was just looking at Popovich. You've probably seen him, a lot of him, right? And his stroke, we're looking at him in the 400. The guy should be under 440 easily. He's that fast and he's that good. But we have this heroic nature in America we have this Rocky syndrome thing, which I really like. It's not true, but I really like. I mean, not everybody can be Rocky. Can even be Rocky. Where 2 weeks later, but I think we have this. We would take Popovich, and well, Schubert just told me day before yesterday. We had lunch, we had breakfast before he's going to Florida, and he said, and somebody was with him that knew him really well. I mean, really well, all the way from high school. And he said, "I remember the time you had that." I'm going to do this. Brian Goodell do 10 1500s per time on Christmas Day. And I went, Christmas Day, huh? I did Christmas Eve, and then I would let him have the next 3 workouts off. Christmas Day. I said, what did his mom say about that? They're still good friends, by the way. Brian Goodell's the mayor, or has been periodically the mayor of Mission Bay, and he's a good guy.
So I have a question for you, Steve. What is
Yeah.
Mark Schubert doing different to what he used to do, if any?
Well, he said he had more fun with the group of swimmers we had in before the Olympic Games than ever before. And the animal lane was famous back. No, he has not. But the surprising thing about working right with him is how much more broad that he is than his reputation. We both have this reputation, and there are others like Greg Troy and others that have this Schulberg, that have this reputation for just doing over distance, because most people are either too lazy or afraid of it. But they're really, really surprised when they see Mark with my towers at Mission this last time, with, which my towers are electronic and everything, so they're pretty scientific. But the fun he was having with that, he kept ordering more and more weights for my towers, and I'm like, how much weight are you using? He goes, no, I'm using the weights, and they're going vertical kicking, so they're doing all this right. So he was still crazy. Now, the crazy hard, but being older too, he had to rely on other people like me to do tracking and for me to do video. But I bought a big TV, and they would come in and see their video split. Mark has always done that. So in terms of being different, he's not all that.
Do we write his workouts before he arrive, or do we just do it off his head?
Oh boy, Steve froze on me. You're stuck, Freeze. There, he just got off. Maybe he'll log back on. Sure.
Mark, is it just me on this call?
Yeah, you, me, and Steve.
Oh no, I don't want you to hang about just for me.
No. I don't really like to go more than 30 or 40 minutes. Sometimes
well, just give me the nod.
Yeah. Well, it's good to catch up with you. Let's see if Steve can log back in. So when's your next big meet? Is it in another month or two?
We got sort of our counties regional championships coming up, but everything is now switching to long course.
Okay, here he comes. You're gonna appear soon, Steve, I hope. The wheel is just spinning. There's a name.
So whereabouts are you based then, Mark?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
All right.
I help a bit with the International Swim Coaches Association.
That's right.
And I've been also playing around with this podcast called Heavy or Not, and meeting also with a Canadian friend, Barry Healy. Do you know Barry?
Heard the name.
He was he was a UK fella for a while, and now he's in BC, Canada, up in the a place called Salmon Arms, smaller town.
We have a few. We have a few UK coaches out there now.
Yes. Steve, you're not coming through.
Well, I'm going to let you go, Mark. I'm not going to hold you back.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, well,
That's
thanks.
nice.
We're going to try to do this every week, and you bring
All right.
bring your stories, bring your questions, bring your insights. We'd love to just stay a little more social.
It's nice to put a name to the face as well.
Oh, great. Okay. Thanks. Don't
All
be a
right.
stranger. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
Steve, are you there? You're not coming in. I'll give you a call on my cell phone. I don't know, man. You show up as a screen like a square, but there's no face or voice. Yeah, on you. Oh, yeah. There's some. No, well, Kevin just said goodbye. He enjoyed seeing us, and I said we'll be back next week too, and bring your questions and stories. So he's checked out. Maybe I don't know what's happening. Something with the internet or something. Oh, now it just should flash mute. Oh yeah, something's weird. Shouldn't be this way. I'll log out. You log out. Let's try to log back in one more time. And then we'll get it if there's any update on Cal Baptist. But I'm gonna leave the room and we'll log back out. Okay. Okay. I'm in the room again. I don't see you yet. Meeting. Yeah. Well, right. Meeting.com, Wasu. Okay. There you coming. Yeah, it's coming. You haven't shown up yet either. Yeah, I think I see myself. And yeah, you're spinning again too. Huh. Yeah, that was just like it was at the end of the last little session. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't want to go too long. Did you get any feedback or update from anybody about the Cal Baptist or no? Yeah. Was there any email? Nothing. Okay. Well, yeah, I just put it, the episode, about Cal Baptist out there. And I didn't know if it would generate any interest or if the kids at Cal Baptist are going to try to fight it, or the worst thing, in my opinion, was about them saying, no, you're not allowed to have a club team, which seemed ridiculous. Yeah. Right. Okay. Ah, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, heck. So, but it's all still under wraps that he's moving to Florida. So I didn't have it. Yeah, thanks for telling me to not promote that. Okay. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Well, good. Yeah. Well, yeah. Take it as it comes. Okay. Hey, so we'll meet again next week. Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot, Steve. All right. Take care. Bye.